our city manager would like to make a comment.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick update. First and foremost, the ordinance tonight will not in any way impact Vision Quest operations or recovery homes. They are two specific issues, and we will govern the recovery homes much differently than just the definition of family. So that's not what it's geared for. In no way are they interconnected, and if we will clear that up in our ordinance we are drafting. So here's where we're at, folks. Number one is patient protection. I said protection of life and patient protection is our number one priority, then neighborhood protection, then sustainability of program, and continuum of care. So you asked about the cease and desist order. That's an excellent question. So first and foremost, we did not force them to cease or desist their operations. We have met with Vision Quest on numerous occasions now. We are essentially discussions and negotiating in good, we believe in good faith. We believe they're being honest and transparent. And so the agreement is we'll allow you to operate because we don't want to have 80 people thrown out into the streets. I think there's a decency issue of how do you protect that human life. You just can't push people to the street. So we said we will not force you to close as long as no new patients come into the program for the 2 to 3 months it's going to take us to figure this out. And they've agreed to that, and we agreed to that, so that's why their operations are continuing to operate unhindered by any type of city legal action. So that was because of patient protection. So it gets us to priority number 2, which is the sustainability of programming. So the recovery issue in Port Huron is going to be a multi-year strategy to deal with addiction in our community. So we need to find a sustainable manner. And any program that tries dodging local ordinances or state laws to operate, that's not a real strategy for long-term issues. So I consider this an emerging market, kind of like Uber and Airbnb. Recovery homes are an emerging market. These are new in the last decade. They're kind of and it shows that they work. I mean, we see a lot of success. So this is an emerging market. Like any emerging market, our ordinances kind of lag. And so we do have to update our ordinances to address recovery homes because the ordinance we have on the book now, they address more like institutions and facilities, kind of like a nursing home. Well, that's not really what these are. And then there's the boarding houses, which really doesn't fit this mold either. So our ordinances really don't speak well to recovery homes. And if we try fitting them in this mold and that mold, they'll try to change their program to fit in that mold. But what we're afraid of is if we force recovery homes to shoehorn into our current ordinances, we don't want them to change their model of operation that would diminish their success just to fit in with our ordinances. That doesn't make much sense. So what we have done is we have assembled community health leaders, mental health leaders. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I don't know about addiction treatment. I'm ignorant. And so is our legal counsel. So we're educating ourselves. We have met with not just one pastor. We've met with groups of influential pastors, most of them from the South Side, on numerous occasions now to get their input. We have met with recovery experts, and now we're doing interviews with former patients. And so there will be changes in operations, but it focuses on patient protection. So one, patient data tracking. There should be minimum standards. I appreciate all of you here tonight. You're the Vision Quest success. But Vision Quest tells us that they have a 40 to 50% success rate, which is remarkably high, especially in the opioid section, which is really good. But my concern is I said that we do not have throwaway populations in our city. There's not throwaway people. So 50% of those people weren't successful. We need to track where they're at, where are these people at, what happened to them, and we need to get them help. So we need better patient tracking data because we don't have throwaway people. If 50% fail, that means 50% of those people still need help. And we need to be able to track them so we can get them services and solutions. So right now, we don't have very good patient tracking data. So I would like to look at that. Licensing from the state. The licensing from the state focuses on admission and dismissal policies. You know, we have issues that if you're not a program, you can't just throw someone out if they fail out of your program because they have tenant rights. And if it is a program, then they have patient rights. And so the licensing at the state provides minimum standards. The minimum standards are so low that the question would be asked, why wouldn't you want to be licensed for a basic SUD license at a sober house? So we've been meeting with Vision Quest now twice. And it's not, here's the thing, it's not about Vision Quest. If it's Vision Quest today, it's going to be some other recovery home down the road. So it's much broader. It's much broader than just one specific company. I want to make that very clear. We're not targeting Vision Quest. So we're meeting with all the experts because really this needs to be professionally driven. The city manager and city staff cannot adequately draft an ordinance to address this issue. We need help from the experts. And so that's what we're doing. We're meeting with a task force that we've formed that has, I met with judges. Tell me what happens when you look for someone you sentence. We did allow one female to enter the program last week who was sitting in the St. Clair County Jail who had no place to go. And female recovery homes are very difficult. There's only, I think, one. And, the fact that there's a girl in a county jail who has no place to go, we allowed that to happen. So we worked with the judge on that, and we appreciate Judge Tomlinson working with us on that. So we're trying to be very strategic and thoughtful on how we do this. There's no knee-jerk reaction. The council has no proposed ordinance in front of them because we're still gathering the information. Vision Quest in good faith is in a holding pattern to allow any people in this short time frame as we work on this. But we hope this summer to bring ordinance language in place that allows these recovery homes to exist, but in a much more regulated fashion with patient protection in mind and neighborhood protection. But I also want to be very clear, we're not forcing people to shut down. I don't know what information you guys are getting out there. I'm sure there's a market for divisiveness. Someone wants to make a name for themselves. But if you ever have a question, you can call up or email me, james@porthuron.org. I will gladly answer your question, anything you may have. But we're working on this. We're going to let the experts take the lead because I really want what you see is an emerging market, right? And I call around city managers across the state, nobody has a handle on this. So here's what I firmly believe, that if we take our time and we work together on this to address patient protection, sustainability of program, neighborhood protection, together we can draft a model ordinance that regulates and allows these homes to exist in a successful fashion, take the success of their programs to protect that, don't make them shoehorn into an obsolete ordinance, a model ordinance that can be duplicated across the state. Because this is going to be an issue all across the state of Michigan. It's Port Huron today, but it's going to be other communities tomorrow. So we'll continue to work together. That's where we're at. No knee-jerk reaction. If you have a question, email me. Don't believe everything you hear. I know there's instigators out there who like to make a name for themselves, but the facts are the facts. So don't hesitate to contact. Appreciate the courage coming out tonight. Keeping it on the radar. This issue's not dying because of your advocacy, so we appreciate that.